Hey.
Goes, hey. Hey there. I'm Mike McHugh from Coastal Daybreak, along with Richard Clark, the news director for the Carteret News-Times, and we were just admiring our physiques here. We think now that the new technology and this new laptop on which we're broadcasting from adds about 120 pounds.
It's not just weight. It also makes you like a carnival mirror.
I know. My goodness, I got a barrel. I said, look at my dad. This is my shirt. I'm not wearing his shirts today. Oy vey.
Hey, I took to wearing sweatpants. Are we serious?
I got into the shorts, and I got admonished by the missus that the pair I was wearing in the previous 3 episodes were the same on consecutive days. I got my money's worth out of that load of Tide. So they're in the hamper now. So, but I got
I took Casual Friday.
I'm kicking in these khaki shorts here that I've had on for the last couple of days. So. How did we get to this point? Look at this here. It's funny. We were talking yesterday during the radio show and in between breaks about how good Kentucky Fried Chicken, a bucket would be. We were thinking of putting it here. We love our sponsors on the radio show, and Chick-fil-A does a fantastic job. I love Chick-fil-A, don't get me wrong, but we were driving through Morehead City yesterday, over there, near the hospital where KFC.
And we had forgotten that earlier on.
Yeah, so sorry about that, our bad. But Richard was saying,
I made up for it.
I said I love Kentucky Fried Chicken. I just love the crust. I'd get a bucket. I'd get a
bucket of the skin,
bucket of the shavings. I thought, oh, that would be so good. So yesterday I get home, and God bless my wife. She's there. Hey, I'm at the Pig, and I bought an 8-piece fried chicken, like $3.99. Like good, because the race was on at night. So I said, fine. She's there. Well, I'm going to eat early and then go out. She has a horse. Go out and feed Jay. So I said, cool. So she came out. She said, I had 2 pieces. So the rest is on the counter there. So there's 6. I can do math. 8 and 2 is 6. So I'm sitting there watching the race. She comes back in around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And she said, did you eat? I said, yeah, it's gone. What? I said, it's gone, the chicken. She said, you had 6 pieces? I'm like, yeah, I had 6 pieces. And then the sides as well. So I thought, what a glutton I am, Only to learn this guy ate a whole bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken last night.
Yeah.
A whole bucket.
Yeah, it was.
How good was that first bite?
It was pretty doggone good, and it kept getting better apparently because I couldn't stop.
Do you put ketchup on the chicken?
No, hot sauce.
Okay, I like ketchup.
And actually, Texas Pete, my girlfriend uses Tabasco, which is not the same.
I can do barbecue sauce or ketchup.
I don't mind barbecue sauce.
I love ketchup. To me, it's like one of the food.
Hot sauce is the deal. I put hot sauce on everything: barbecue and chicken and just pretty much pork, anything chicken.
Yeah, I like the sauces. I always have to. And my wife will always say, "Taste it before you put the sauce."
No,
she knows it's gonna. I don't smother it.
I smother a lot of stuff in sauce, like Taco Bell and places like that. But here's my explanation of that. I know what I can make it taste like, and I know I like that. So I can order that every time with no fear of getting something I don't like.
Yeah. I think you would like that, what's it called? Unreal Burger from Burger King?
Yeah, the Impossible Burger.
It's good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm going to get, we discussed that, and then we discussed it, then we got fried chicken.
A barrel of chicken. Oh my God, that's awesome. That is awesome. That just makes me want to get one right now for the ride back. I left here yesterday, and I was famished. We got out of here around 10 o'clock in the morning, and I thought to myself, driving over, okay, I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A, and then I got to go up there. I'm going to go to McDonald's. No, you know what? I'll do Jersey Mike's subs when I get in the store.
How was it?
I'm only 2 miles from here. I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to do that. Then I thought, you know what? I'll get Bojangles in Cedar Point, right there across from BB&T. And I thought, the line's always so long. I remember though when I had gone to Lowe's a couple days ago to get the sides, broccoli salad and the potato salad. Out of the corner of my eye, I spied prepackaged, already cooked, like honey chicken.
Oh yeah. Right?
And
so
it was
that's
like
gonna be the next.
So I never bought it then, and I could have just wiped out the whole shelf. Instead, I thought, no, I'm gonna go back to Lowe's. So this is 10 o'clock in the morning. So I bought a pack, and they're all packaged the same, but I bought the heaviest one because the price $3.99. Went over to the Uncle Ben's aisle, got a pack of rice, and then I noticed too. It was interesting in the toilet paper aisle, which I'm always keen to see. They had the whole aisle filled with toilet paper still in the box. So I wonder if that's all gone now. But anyway, I deviate from what my thought here. So I went back to the chamber office and I nuked the chicken, nuked the rice, and oh my God, was that good.
Yeah, my new goal.
I know it. I bought a full bag of Cape Cod potato chips, kettle cooked.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not a fan of that. Gwen likes those.
So that, and in fact, I have half a bag waiting back at the office. So
Went
in. That went into the boiler. The chicken went into the boiler, and then the rice, and then that's when I came. So I came home, and I didn't tell my wife what I had for lunch, and then she broke the pig, got the 8-piece chicken. I thought, well, okay, I had chicken for lunch, chicken for dinner. I didn't have any chicken sandwich for breakfast here, so.
My new hunt today is a cheesesteak, a Philly style cheesesteak. They're hard to find in
Well, let me tell you, go to Jersey Mike's. It's the number 43.
Are you sure?
Positive, you'll love it.
Because I want to say I've been there before and it wasn't right.
Oh no, it's good.
It's like the ones, you're from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's good. Trust me.
Now.
No, it's not the chopped up.
Because there's a place that used to be here, not anymore, but there's one in Greenville too called Cubby's, and that's pretty close.
You got to appreciate Jersey Mike's. They started.
If I get a piece of
Point Pleasant, New Jersey. So
if I get a piece of steak and with a slice of cheese, I'll be mad.
No.
I need it chopped up, mixed all together.
It's good.
Okay.
It's good. Slides right down.
On
a Parma bun.
All right.
Parma half.
I might have to give that a whirl then, see what's going on.
43.
Okay.
I like it.
All right. But we went off the food.
That's
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah.
We talked about KFC right here, anchored in Morehead City.
Yeah,
so
that was good too.
So it's the weekend, and sports is starting to.
NASCAR rolled last night. They roll again Sunday.
I love it.
I'm loving the pace because it gives me something to look forward to in a couple-day period.
It's going to be hard. I think. Well,
it's going to be hard to go back.
It's going to be hard to go back.
It's like binge watching NASCAR almost.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because especially if you watch Truck and Xfinity like my old man does. You
know what? I like it. I mean, I'm not big into the whole truck series.
My dad's a real fan.
Yeah, I like it.
And he watches all of them. So he's pretty much had a race every day.
Because
almost.
you know what? They do such a good job producing these shows, these live events, that whether they're racing Xfinity cars or the Cup cars or the trucks, it's at the same track. So it's going around, in this case, Charlotte Motor Speedway, 1.5 mile track, and they're all tricked out. They're all logoed out. The trucks look a little weird just because of the way the sheet metal is, and that they have to make that
flat back,
the back. But underneath it,
which is the whole point,
all of the weight.
Right.
But it's I think it's cool. I agree with you, man. It's like it's going to be hard to go back to. This next Sunday is the next Cup race.
Right.
You kind of wonder, what changes.
I think, and I'm hoping that that's some of the stuff, and I think we'll see moving forward with some of the other sports. We talked about hockey on the radio station. 2014 playoff.
That's awesome.
I'm loving that. Let's just do it.
Awesome.
And I'm sure basketball is going to do something similar.
How many games in those series will they
I don't know yet. I haven't seen all the details.
How it breaks down.
But they do have a breakdown of it on ESPN. I saw
that might make I'm not big into watching hockey.
I'm not either.
But
hockey is a lot like, to me, it's a lot like baseball. It's one of those things that's very good when you're there in person.
Yeah,
not so much on TV.
I agree. I at times where I was living in a town, Washington, where they had a hockey team.
They were great.
It was good. The enjoyment of going.
And if you go to the Hurricanes games, it's great.
The enjoyment. I was like walking into a hockey arena. That smell of the ice.
I think maybe following the puck on TV is a problem.
That's the hard part.
And I'm curious to see if, because TVs have gotten so ginormous, to make up a word, if that's helped them at all.
Maybe. Yeah, they were trying to do different things with the puck for television. It didn't work.
Tracer. It didn't work.
Tracer. No, but I think that is a sport that is best seen live, and I think baseball is the same deal.
I personally think baseball is, but the baseball people probably want to hang me for saying it. But
and football. Football. There's several different.
I like to watch football better on TV. Now the atmosphere is something entirely different.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's almost like it's separate.
Yeah, and not so much on the pro level as far as the pregame outside. College is the best.
Well, I'm a sports guy, obviously, and I have some things on my wish list before I bucket list, so to speak. And 3 of them are college related.
Yeah.
I want to go to Ole Miss and walk the Grove. I want to go to Baton Rouge and see a Saturday night game, and I want to go to the cocktail party, which is Georgia, Florida. These are like events, though. It's not even really about the game.
It's funny. When I was waiting to hear your list, and the top was Ole Miss and the Grove, and I have a good friend. He can't talk to me until he runs the paper.
Oh, I know what we're talking about.
Until the Daily News runs itself into the ground, which will be probably within the next couple football seasons. We are going to get kitchen passes and permission from our wives to travel down to Old Miss. I don't have to go inside the stadium to see the game. It'd be kind of
cool. And that's what I said.
And I could
These
just
are the events.
I want to just hang and just soak in the atmosphere and the history.
The Grove is something else.
Yeah. So
talk about some long-standing.
Oh my God! Yeah, imagine that. So anyway, that's on my list. I'm 58, so I'm thinking perhaps when I'm 59 or 60, because I think the paper will be dead between now and then.
I'm ready to do that myself.
Kill the paper.
Go to the Grove.
You can't kill the paper. You're in the paper.
You're to go to the Grove.
Yeah.
So that's those three things are college football related on my list. So, but again, they're not about the game. They're about all the extras. Baseball doesn't seem to have that atmosphere.
No.
Racing's got it a little bit. Depending on where it is. But yeah, they have it a little bit.
And racing, the thing about racing is
basketball doesn't have that either. Not that pre-game type.
No. The NASCAR, if you're into it, I mean, it lasts the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those folks, back in the day, they would get in their RV and they would go from this track to that track. I'll tell you what. People who don't like racing say that sounds stupid. What words are you doing? But it's a family. It's camaraderie.
No, and
I think it's cool. I remember walking through is at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and they had several fields across the street from the track, and just the fans and how everybody gets along. It's not like a rivalry in the sense of this team versus that team. You're race fans, and I'll never forget this one RV on their dashboard. They had all of the die-cast cars. And they had them lined up as they were going off for the start of the race. And then I went back to that same RV at the end of the race, and they had the finishing lineup. All their little cars. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, I love NASCAR fans.
Here's where I figure I missed my my wealthy idea. When I was a kid, 6, 7, 8 years old, I used to play. I went to all the races with my dad, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I would buy Hot Wheels. Well, at that time, they didn't actually sell them to look like that.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would take them to the grinder and grind all the paint off and then paint them like Richard Petty.
Oh, cool.
And I kept, like you, I kept a score and all that,
Yeah.
Fast forward 10, 15 years, they're selling these things. And I'm like, dang, come on, man. If I only knew, or my parents knew, because I didn't know you could sell them. I was just doing it for myself.
You got to keep the box.
Right.
That's the whole
Yeah. I mean, because I guarantee you right now, my mother still got those somewhere. Because I actually had a socket case that, you kept sockets in that was metal that I kept them all in.
Yeah.
I kept all the cars in. So, with STP stickers and all that kind of stuff.
People, because why? Because back then, you had this stuff and you saved it, and you'd either get your chops busted by your parents for keeping all this stuff, or if you were married, that you're not going to keep this in the house.
Right.
And then the tag would always be, "What are you keeping this for?" And you'd say, "It's going to be worth money someday."
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Who's going to buy this crap? Because there was no such thing as the internet or eBay or anything like that. Now, if you had, for instance, a die-cast car of, maybe say Tim Richmond.
Right. That'd be worth something.
Yeah, exactly.
Davey
Allison in the box yet.
I'm so upset that I didn't
Alan Cole Wiki.
know better. You know what I mean?
You don't see it. You just don't, and here we are sitting in the year 2020, May 29th, and there's probably something here that, 10, 15 years from now, we're going to say, oh, I didn't see that coming. I could have had that.
I mean, from my G.I. Joe stuff all the way down to that sort of thing, and I was from that era, and then on top of that, I was the only child, so they had to buy you extra toys, basically, because you didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
So, I had all these, Batman and all these things that today are worth a fair amount of money. Of course, mine were way used. Little Evil Knievel guy, they had a little thing that you shoot him off, and he jumps over stuff, and that was fantastic.
Think of all the Beanie Babies. That never. It was a popular thing at the time, and people said it was like
Cabbage Patch Kids. Remember those?
It was like Holland tulip bulbs, back in the day. But
there's
no market for Beanie Babies now.
No.
And my nephew, who's Ross's age, our producer, is 30. And he was born in 1990, and that was the big craze. That and Thomas the Tank Engine. That type of stuff.
That's a little bit after. That's 10, 15 years ago, Thomas the Tank.
It was 1990.
Okay.
Yeah.
25.
Big deal. Yeah, it's hard to believe. But no, stuff that you had. I went through a box of stuff I have at home that was sent down by my mother, who's known to do all that stuff, and it's like, oh, Mom, I got enough of the crap, you know. But she sent down a bunch of records, 45s. Nice. And we have Big John, the music guy, that comes on the radio show, and he talks about, he's out of Maine, talks about top 10 records that are worth money, and it's every time he comes on the show, it's a new batch of records. Well, he talks about 45 records, and I don't even know if they sell those anymore. 45s.
Yeah.
With the picture sleeve.
I bet a lot of people, maybe some of the people here would know, but a lot of people probably don't know what that is.
So a record. You go to a record store. They're made on vinyl. You made them they were in 78s RPMs or 45s, and typically the 45 had a hit song on the
33.
front. And 33.
33
was
albums.
Albums are 33. I'm sorry. Albums were 33. RPs were 45s.
They did make 78s, but they stopped making those when I was a kid.
Yeah, when the 33s came out. So, for instance, like Terry Jacks, "Seasoned in the Sun" was a top pop hit, like in the early 70s.
No idea what that is.
And we had Joy, we had Love, we had Seasons in the Sun.
Okay, yeah.
So they'd have the hit song on the A side, then they'd put some crap on the B side just to fill it out. Well, anyway, it'd stick it in a picture sleeve, and you'd buy it for like $1. You know, they were kind of ahead of themselves considering how you buy music now. You download it on iTunes. Yeah. But then if you wanted to buy, if you really wanted to waste $5, you'd buy the Terry Jacks entire album, which had one good song on it, and the rest were crap. Anyway, so we had a lot of 45s at our house. My mom sends us down here, so I'm going through it, and I find a Beatles 45.
Nice.
Do me right. Do me.
Love Me Do.
Love Me Do on Trolley Records with a picture sleeve with the 4 Beatles on there.
Have you put it on eBay yet?
Well, no, I went on eBay and looked to see what the price was. The picture sleeve, if it's in mint condition, meaning it has no rips, no bends,
wrong with it.
$900.
Is yours messed up?
Not messed up, but it's not mint. I wouldn't even try to grade it.
You need to put it in plastic now.
Yeah, but it's probably
you probably get half that.
Well, I wouldn't think. Well, if I got half that, I could sell it.
Yeah.
What do I want it for? Yeah, I was about ready to throw it out. I was about ready to give it to Casey as a toy. Like, hey, go fetch.
And they even made 12 inches records, that were singles that ran 33. They were big size of an album.
Really?
Yeah, that were made specifically for DJs and record and radio stations at the time because they were like a long version of whatever the song was. I have a bunch of those myself. I was into a certain type of music that was good for DJs, put it that way.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of those that are probably worth something. So
my wife talks about a 12-inch that she had back in nursing school, but I don't think that never talks about it anymore. I think they kind of came and went rather quickly. So, but yeah, it's amazing records.
Yeah.
And people are even trying to
trying to revive them.
They're trying to play the record. I remember the most frustrating thing was they either would get warped. As the needle where they get scratched, they get scratched, and then you had to get the new stylus but those things were expensive. I remember buying a stereo. That was like, my goodness, if you bought a stereo like a Pioneer or a Blaupunk, and they're massive, they're big, the speakers were huge, and then you still had to find. I'm going to play that third cut. You had to try to put down the needle, and oh my god.
My speakers from my high school stereo that I took to college when I first went, the speakers were about 2 feet wide and probably every bit of 3 feet high.
They had woofers and tweeters.
Yeah, well, they were one at that time, but the tweeters are on top, but the woofers were the size of a tire almost, a hubcap.
I had a next in my dorm, my freshman year in college. The neighbor, the dorm next door to our dorm, the next room over was Greg Kelly. In fact, he was from the same town as me, which was odd. Think about that. In Georgetown, dare I say Allentown? He was from Allentown. His dad had the Ford dealership, and I didn't know anything about car dealers and all of that. But his dad had a car dealership, so he's a rich kid, and he loved the Who, and he had speakers that were just monstrous. And I mean, that whole building would just shake. And it's like, oh god, Greg's back from class. Here it goes. He's going to crank it up, and he would.
Well,
you remember how? I mean. What was like Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon in a college dorm
was fantastic.
Oh my god!
And look, let's be clear here. When people talk about education these days, and in many circles, it's been demeaned, I guess, or minimized. okay, the education part, the actual books and what you're learning, okay, you can learn that anywhere, let's say. But it's that part that you can't, not just that you're having fun. That's not even, but it's just the whole atmosphere of like-minded people in a certain area, and you're all able to do, what you do.
I remember,
it was great. You're absolutely right. Friday about 2:00. In a dorm was fantastic. Half the people were gone.
Yeah.
The other half were in it for the weekend, and it was just
I can't.
You can't duplicate.
I couldn't tell you one class. I mean, one lecture in a theology or philosophy course that I took in my 4 years at Georgetown. But I can tell you this one moment, like it happened yesterday. I'm walking down the steps to my dorm, Harbin Hall, which was like 9 stories high. And I think I had just come back from the Dixie liquor store, which was down the Exorcist steps on M Street. So I'm coming back with like a 6-pack of Ortliebs, right? Going back to my dorm room. And it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a beautiful day, coming down the steps, and somebody has you can see the speaker in the window, and it was the beginning of the song from the Beatles, Revolution, with that scream. And it was like, you heard that, and the music just poured out, and it was like, okay, the weekend's here. It was just,
and people sitting in the window with the screen out. It was great.
And you're done with classes, you're done for the week, you got the weekend ahead. Oh, it's just a lot of fun. And the problem is, they say, youth is wasted on the young people. You don't realize.
There's a lot of truth to that,
you don't realize what you have before you in your palm of your hand at that moment. And then you know what? You graduate and you come back for a 10th year reunion of 20, or I walked through the campus and now I'm invisible.
God, I can't.
I walk past that same dorm. And it's like, I can't believe this is 40 years ago.
I went back to ECU's, and I was there in 2000, 99. And when I went back this past, I guess it was in the winter, December or something like that, I didn't even recognize it. It was completely different than what it was, because they built so much and changed so much, and I was like, "Ooh, my goodness!" So, and that's been 20 years.
I walked through
that.
I was up in the fall in Georgetown. I enjoy just parking and then just walking the campus, and it's amazing. I mean, the professors are younger than you. Of course, the students look like it could be your grandkids. And I walked to that same dormitory, Harbin Hall, and I saw a penny lying on the ground. And naturally, I'm going to go pick it up. And I picked it up, and I remember the date was 1984. I thought, son of a gun, this thing wasn't even minted when I was here.
And just for full disclosure, I went back. I had left college and done other things. Did not flunk out, let's be clear. And went back. When I went back to finish.
For your doctorate. Dr. Clark.
When I went back to finish, I had to take a biology lab, freshman biology lab, a 1-hour course that is paired with biology.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know how I missed it the first go around, but whatever. When I go there,
like you missed the
I'm probably 10 years older than the person teaching the class, and probably 15 years older than anybody in the class.
Yeah.
And I was like,
you're like Rodney Dangerfield back to school.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much like that. And the teacher, I said, look, I got to wear it all. And she was really, really cool. And she was like, don't worry about it. Just take the test and whatever. And it was fantastic, because, I mean, it's not like.
Yeah, I wonder how if you could go back. I mean, people do it, and that's why a lot of people move back to college towns, because they either want to just what was the term, proctor a course, audit. It was audit a course. And I mean, again back in going back on campus, I'll walk through Healy Hall, and on the first floor is classrooms, and it's interesting. They keep the doors open, and it's so different from when we were there. Obviously, with all the technology, but they all have like laptops in front of them. And there's the professor who looks like Ross, our 30-year-old producer here, and there's the class, and you just like to pop in there and see if it would sink in any easier than it did, because it was. I mean, some of these courses for an 18-year-old are pretty challenging.
Well, let me say this: when I went back the second time, I was older, and I had a better understanding of what the professors were looking for.
Exactly.
Whether that meant that
you were learning,
that I was learning more, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I knew what they wanted.
Yeah.
And it was much easier than it was the first time.
I'm sure it is, and I think you have life experience too.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe.
You know what I noticed when and this is way off course. It was funny to me that the kids that studied a lot in high school, they were the ones that struggled when they got to college because there was no longer this rigid schedule, nobody to push them, but yet they had to study hard to get a B or A in high school, and so it just became much harder. And then for some people, I don't want to name names, where they didn't study much, college was actually easier in many ways.
Depends on the curriculum too.
Well, yeah, that's probably a lot too. If you're taking, statistics or something,
breathing for credit.
Right, right, exactly. So, but anyway, just a thought.
So we got from that to sports to NASCAR. By the way, let's bring it back to Carteret County here for race fans. We have the race on television set, but at the Carteret County Speedway,
Carteret Speedway, supposed to have races this weekend.
The Bobby Watson Carteret Speedway.
We need to get him on here.
Well, we have Bob Lowry.
Yes.
I talked to Judy Haley and Bob, and they were busy. They were supposed to schedule the race last week, but they got washed out. And they may have some rain issues this week as well. But we
need to see if they'll do our show.
They would. Bob's
I'd love to hear a little history of the whole thing, because they've had some heavy hitters come through here.
They have.
Back. Yeah.
Bobby Allison, the late Junior Johnson.
Junior was my guy.
Yeah, well,
that's who I started.
Bobby Watson, when he was alive, Bobby passed away last year before, just recently. He was good friends with Junior Johnson.
Yeah, Junior was my guy. That's when I started. For whatever reason, he was one of the first guys I had met, and
he was a real deal.
Yeah, and so I followed him. I started when he was the crew chief for Bobby Allison. That quickly transferred to Cale Yarbrough, who became my favorite driver. And then it moved to Darrell Waltrip and so forth. And so forth. Yeah. So, that's kind of the lineage to my NASCAR fandom was Junior.
Yeah.
What I remember is, I remember Big Junior Johnson wearing, at the time, Bobby Allison was sponsored by Coca-Cola. And he had these checkerboard red and white pants because of Coca-Cola. Sure. And Big Junior wearing that and running around. I just remember as a little kid thinking, what is going on here?
I loved the Bobby Allison. Was it the 12 or 12 car in the Miller when it was sponsored by Miller High Life?
Yeah.
It was just a beautiful car.
Yeah.
It sounds strange to say that's a real beautiful car because they're all basically they look the same, but it's those color schemes that are
some do definitely look a lot better than others, and some are iconic at this point.
Well, like Petty.
Like Petty. Yeah. Even if you want to go more modern, like Jeff Gordon's one with the rainbow on it will always be just because of what it did, and Jimmy Johnson's one with the 48 and lows. That'll always be famous.
It was cool when they had a lot of the domestic beer and the cigarettes. Let's not, the Winston, it was Winston Cup, and then you had Skoll. Gant drove the Skoll car.
The Skoll Bandit.
Skoll Bandit, yeah.
They actually, it was so big at that time. They actually made Skoll Bandit chewing tobacco that came in these little pouches, and they called it Skoll Bandit.
Who was the football player that was it? Who was the Houston Oiler? Skoll, brother. Who was that?
Oh, damn.
Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
It was Earl Campbell, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
They sponsored Skoll. And the Davey Allison Havoline Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. Those were, to me, you look at the races from the 50s, the 60s, but it was those late 70s. When Earnhardt gets in, Waltrip gets in. And I'll never forget this. We'll wrap it up here. But I wanted to say about the Carteret County Speedway. We'll get Bob Lowry and Judy Haley to talk about the track here at some point.
I hope we do.
But,
that'd be a good coup for us.
I went down to Speed Week in Daytona back in '88 or '89, and they had at night, the whole Speed Week, you do stuff at Daytona National Speedway. Have you ever been there?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
So we were staying in Daytona Beach, and there was a restaurant bar that had On Pit Road, which was at the time a radio show on MRN. Mm-hmm. Motor Racing Network, and Ken Squire, remember Ken?
Oh yeah.
He was the MC of the program, and they would bring in race car drivers and talk. It was an intimate setting, and you're talking about people like Richard Petty coming on the show. It was a big deal. No podcast.
That's because there was
no cable.
Yeah.
So even and Richard always comes in with the sunglasses, the hat, and just signs everybody's whatever autograph.
And you know what?
But
go ahead.
The one thing I wanted to fit was Darrell Waltrip came in, and he was riding the Tide Machine, and Waltrip was you knew that he could talk the birds out of the trees, and
he was the Charles Barkley of wrestling, and NASCAR.
He was destined to go into the booth after racing. Now people didn't like him at first. because he wasn't from the real South.
He was from Tennessee.
Yeah, but it wasn't it wasn't the moonshiners and all that. He was outspoken.
He's like Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
When he played, they didn't necessarily like him, but his personality came out as he got older.
But his crew chief, I think, was Waddell Wilson.
Waddell Wilson.
Was it the crew chief or the owner?
That was the crew chief.
Yeah, and we saw these
Darryl
guys,
actually owned the Tide car.
We saw these guys in restaurants afterwards, like, hey, that's Waddell Wilson. Anyway, but I'll never forget this line he said, and it was so perfect, and he was just so brilliant at engaging the audience, but also invoking the sponsor. And he said, I feel it on Sunday when we take the green flag. He's there, the Tide machine, that machine is agitated, and we're going to take the checker on Sunday. And it's just so beautiful the way he said it.
Darryl
is agitated.
He
just
got
like a washer would be agitated.
He got it too. He started getting it later on, and that's when his personality changed a little bit. He wasn't as...
He softened up. People just like Earnhardt,
Again,
people
like
Dale Earnhardt.
More like Barkley. But he became humorous and people found him funny.
Yeah.
But when they were in the heat of battle, it was different. Yeah. So anyway,
good. Let's wrap up. Let's get out of here.
You guys have a great weekend.
Great weekend. Do what you're going to do, and we'll be back here the next time.
Thank you.